Thanks for staying with us, everyone. We now have 98.95% results on INEX result viewing portal. That's 5,660 results out of 5,720. All eyes on Anambra. We are waiting to get some updates from the field, especially as we turn our attention to the State Collation Center. We're hoping that the figures on IREV will also translate into an immediate collation and announcement of result before midnight today. Still with us in the studio, Liberus Oshoma, Chukuma Okenwa. Gentlemen, thank you for staying the course on the program. Mr. Okenwa, many have said that this election is a litmus test of the new INEC chairman's performance, Professor Amokwito, but it was sworn in just a few weeks before this exercise. What do you make of how much the conduct of this exercise will rub off on his ability to perform?
Well, I think so far with what we've seen, despite like the challenges, I would say that it shows that the current INEC chairman, he's ready to work. Yes, as reasonably expected, due to the complex nature of all of the logistics, that, all graft in all together into having one election, such as a gubernatorial election, like we see in Anambra State. There are a lot of like sides to it. I would say that two things. Yes, what would be of great concern would be the fact that, okay, this is just happening in one state. So if you upscale that to a national election happening all across Nigeria, then of course you're going to have much more gaps. But then like on a unit level, if you try to like assess like relatively like compared to the last election, having like at around 7:30, like arrival of sensitive materials to the polling units, we could see like that calmness. We could see like the electoral process, particularly the outdoor staff doing what they are assigned to do under strict supervision. So what I think everyone seems to be complaining, like largely majority of the candidates, is the vote buying. Interestingly, some persons also that will just want to join the rhetoric of vote buying might also be buying votes. It's just that maybe they may feel threatened that their opponent is buying much more than they are doing, you understand? And I think it's something that, it's not even just what we are going to contend alone with just like making laws, because there are already laws with some stringent punishment, imprisonment, fine, or even a combination of the two. That may not be deterring enough. And I want to align my thoughts with the analyst in the studio there, would be that you have like citizens are able to find what to eat, right? Because poverty has a way of actually mutating one's thinking. It's not as if to say like what, these citizens are asking for to vote can actually justify, the fact that, what they're actually demanding for now. What do I mean? I mean, to me, if you really would want to negotiate and you think that for the next 4 years, you probably will not hear from that politician, then 5,000 is too cheap, because no matter what be the case, in today's Nigeria, that cannot sustain maybe a family of 2, 3, right, for 2 days, certainly.
Yeah, Mr. Okenwa, they say that talk is cheap. Tell that to someone who has not eaten since yesterday, and he will tell you that you take your motivation elsewhere, that 5,000 naira is actually needed.
Well, the thing, and that is why, like, I think that poverty leads to depravity, right? And depravity is where the issue is. Where like somebody like, okay, so fine, you want to say your vote, right? You know that your vote, like we say, it's your voice. These are the rhetorics. Now, what I should think is that for someone who for the past 4 years was able to survive without any politician giving you any money, and then for the next 4 years, all you are asking for is not even your rent. You're not even asking for a bag of rice. Perhaps if a bag of rice could even sustain you for 1 year, right? You're only asking for 5,000. I mean, that is too cheap, right? So if you want to even negotiate and you think it's all about motivational talk, then why don't you think that, this is all about the collective future on not just myself, not just my family, but the entire Nigeria, but the entire state.
Well said. However, I heard that the money is now between 10 and 15,000 naira. I don't think anybody gives 5,000 naira again to buy votes.
And it depends on where you're coming from. Some get as high as 25, 30.
It depends on where you are, and it depends on the person who is buying the vote.
And how you carry yourself.
It depends on the popularity of the candidate in that area, because you don't rig election where you are not popular. You only rig election where you are popular. And so what happens is, and then, for example, the ruling party will certainly, want to, because they would have more money, they would want to pay more, because also there are targets. They give targets to appointees of the government. If you are holding a directorship position in the Ministry of Parastatal, and you are asked to deliver your polling units, you will certainly do everything to deliver the polling unit, especially also, take for example, Agulu, where Peter Obi is from. Certainly, if you have somebody who is working in the cabinet of the government in such an area, where you know that the voters are naturally going to gravitate towards a particular person who is not in the ballot, whose candidate might not win, but for the fact that he was able to deliver his candidate to his polling unit to his candidate. So in such places, and you are given a target to ensure that if you don't win your polling unit, then this is your job. Don't come back to it. So everybody, at that point, certainly you want to pay more. You can stake as much as 20,000 naira per vote, because you want to entice people. So in such area also, it might not even necessarily be poverty. It might just be, look, they brought their money, let us collect. But you can't collect this money without voting. And so that's where the challenge is. But you also put, like you said, for a man who is hungry, whose bank account, the highest money is there in that account is about 10,000 naira. And here you are dangling 20,000 naira before him just to come to print. He would ask you, even if I vote for this candidate, he won't win. So why? In fact, sometimes they will even tell themselves, why do I want to waste my vote when I can use it to collect money? I know this money will survive me for the next 4 years, but whether I collect the money or not, they will always go steal. So there's this perception that the people have about the politicians, that there are no sense among them.
And they will tell you it's a common matrimony.
Yes, and so that's, after all, is our money. The one that is to let it bring it for us.
This is my share.
But like I said, until there will always be willing buyer as long as there's willing seller. So, but as long as we learn to prosecute, there are consequences. And those consequences are that, look, we want to use a few persons to set example. And then that way, you will also, people will no longer want to sell, because they know that it becomes an offense, that INEC frowns at it. And then I said something over the weekend. I told somebody, I said, look, we're talking about sanction, America coming to help Nigeria, as if, Boko Haram are kept in one place, and then you just come, you just bomb that place, and all of them will just go. This is an ideological thing. They live amongst us. Sometimes you don't even know them. So let's start from America. You just stop giving visas to our government officials and their family members. Just permit me, I'm going somewhere. You don't give them visas. Their family members refuse them visa. Apart from going for one conference, governmental relationship. When we all know that nobody's running away from this entity called Nigeria, there is no second address. If you leave office, the former governor of Anambra State today lives in Texas. After governing Anambra for 8 years, the place is not good enough for him to stay. So if he knows that if he leaves office, there is no second address, there's no hiding place, he will develop Anambra and make it look like Texas, because he knows he will stay there. That way, the people won't have cause to want to buy votes, because naturally they will see governance, and then you will empower and enrich the people, that giving them 20,000 naira will not become an insult to them. But when you have a second address, so you take to that your second address, you give little to buy vote, and then you just want to bear that name, governor. And then you say, well, I did mine, I'm gone. The next person will come and continue from there. Nobody will ever do it right.
But are we,
yes.
I do apologize, Nifemi. Are we really serious about ending or stopping vote trading? Because Nifemi made reference to a statement, a lot of statements made by the sitting governor of Anambra State, one of which was, ward members, if this ward performs better, you'll get 5 million, you'll get 1 million. The governor also said, during one of his campaign rally, I think it was in Aguata, that collect their money, but vote for us. Shouldn't INEC or the appropriate quarters use that as an example? If we're really serious.
Let me tell you, you see, here, when you hear politicians say, oil the political machineries, what do you think they are doing? You think they buy olive oil and begin to, there's a machinery that they are. Money is what oils political machineries. Why are people looking for appointment? They're looking for appointment not to work, not to do anything for you. They're looking for appointment to feather their own nests and then do a little for their people. And that is why you see even lawmakers are fighting for constituency projects, because the next question is who you help. So when election comes, you've seen that you have not done enough for your people. You have not provided. You talk so much about, revolutionizing agriculture, building classrooms, and yet you have all of this on paper, audio. But when you look at what is on ground, it is nothing compared to, what we see on TV. So what you do, you find a way to, but bridge the gap. And bridging the gap is by giving them money. Because the people also are hungry, certainly they will collect money. But you don't expect to come now and tell me, take 20,000 votes for me. I won't do it, I won't collect. But a man who, a political office holder, he won't extend 20,000 to somebody like me. Rather, he will say, you have influence. Don't worry. How many people are you bringing who can give you 10 million to share to your people? And the moment that is done, your people will hear that, oh boy, they released 10 million to Ogao to mobilize. If it does not bring... fee. Yeah, exactly. So if it does not bring, then we're not going to go to the feed.
Absolutely.
So all of these are what they call oiling the political machineries, because also there is poverty, there's lack, and they intentionally create it. And also, like I always say, there is no consequences for these actions and inaction.
Indeed.
So when you know that I always have an exit plan, and that's why the day a governor is exiting, he's voted out of office, he's handed over, the next thing, he's getting the next available flight, he tells you he's going for a medical trip abroad, he's going to rest, he's going to check up. So why can't you rest in a state that you have governed for 8 years? Because you have provided nothing. You bought votes all the while.
We are going to need collaboration from more countries more than the US, because there are quite a number of holiday destinations outside the US.
Yes, let's do the holiday here.